Okay, so I've ested a lot of concrete in my career. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I think I have found the best, most accurate and efficient way to do it so it doesn't take you hours and hours to put out one estimate. Most of the time, as contractors, we don't have a lot of time to, dedicate to estimating. And if we do, we might be doing it on the weekends, we're doing it in the evenings. So obviously you don't want to take too much time out of your weekend with your family or doing whatever you do on the weekends. So yeah, let's jump into it. First things first, obviously, we've got to upload our plans here. I've got a little Chick-fil-A project. Well, it's not little. It's a pretty good Chick-fil-A project, at least for us. New construction. We have the whole store, the drive-throughs, the sidewalks, the slab. For this video, I'm gonna walk through estimating the slab. Obviously, well, depending on your business. For me, I'm gonna estimate all the curb, all the paving, sidewalk, the dumpster pads, the aprons here, anything concrete, I'm going to estimate. Maybe you only do slabs, maybe you only do site work. But if you can estimate a slab, you can probably estimate site work, at least from a concrete point of view. So I kind of went through this plan set already. I've got a good feel of where things are. You know, checking over the plans. We have our civil plans here. I'm going to jump down to the structurals. The good thing about ScopeTakeoff is it automatically organizes your plans how they come in. So a lot of estimating softwares will, jumble up your plans, but this one keeps the same order and also will allow you to organize through folders. So if you have multiple sets, addendums, and additionally, you can drag them around if you only use a certain set of plans, and you can select to only upload certain plans as well. So I have this S201, which is our foundation plan. First thing that I'm seeing here is the 5-inch slab with wire and thin mill poly. So I'm gonna go take a look at the rest of the details. I'm gonna pull up S301. And I'm also going to pull up S302. Looks like I need that. Okay. That's for lipo base. Maybe we won't need that here. So get our details here. I'm going to just X out of that one. Also, you can quickly jump between plans here using the tabs feature, which is awesome. So let me see. I'm going to look for whatever this footer detail is. So I think it's A1. A1 is your typical exterior stud wall, which has our footer detail. See our schedule here. Mm, Okay, here's our footing schedule. So SF1, SF2, and SF3, as well as they're calling them pad footings. So that makes it quick and easy for us. So first, I'm going to go through and just for the sake of this video, I would typically measure these first and get these column footings done. But I'm just going to show you the functionality of the software. So I'm seeing here that it is a 5-inch slab with wire, 10 mil poly, and pretty standard stuff here. So I know that I'm actually going to note that that's a freezer slab, so I'm not going to measure that in this slab measurement. So I know that in my assemblies here, which do come preset on the software, and then you can obviously um, edit them to your liking, that I have this here. I actually have the 5-inch slab. It does have wire mesh already included. It does have the 10 mil poly, and it has labor included for the finish and some curing compound. So obviously you might not use curing compound depending on the situation. This is a slab depression, so I'm just going to go around that. So I'm just going to hit apply here. Of course, I'm going to need to set my scale. So let's see here. I'm going to get out of that takeoff. So set my scale here. These come with preset scales, and you can also calibrate it if you needed to. Where's my scale here? 1.4. Okay. Okay. So now I'm just going to make sure we have that selected. And I'm just going to measure. I have this S. You can click the button S, which will allow you to snap lines, just to make sure you're remaining square. Not that that's important here, but it just that helps you go a lot quicker. Actually, I need it to go around. So you just hit the delete key and it won't delete your whole takeoff. You can just, uh, anyways, like I said, I would be more accurate if this was my actual project here. I'm going to go around that freezer slab because I don't know the detail on that. And then double click to close that. So you have your measurement here. I'm not going to go through every aspect. Of course, you have, linear footage measurements for the footers. You have your count measurements over here um, for your spread footers there. But yeah, just to give you a quick view of how these assemblies work, that's the way that I would estimate that. So then we can go over to our uh, estimates tab. Reports really just gives you kind of an overview of everything. You can do it by item list, etc. So I'm going to go over into this worksheet here. You have unit price, which is honestly for this kind of job, I'm going to do unit pricing most of the time. And you can just enter on top of your concrete, what you would end up being at. So on top of everything material wise, I would probably add somewhere in this range just to get a quick estimate. Yeah, somewhere in there. But you can also go a little more detailed. You also have this man hours sheet where you can add labor hours to every aspect of the job, and then add a composite rate of man hours. That's usually something I don't do just because I know my rates for this kind of work. If it was a different kind of job, maybe I would do that, or other trades. But I'm usually going to use this simple form, which simply just allows me to. So I'm going to boost my cost up here because it's not accurate there. That looks about right. Everything else looks about, well, I'm going to boost my labor up here to about, I can finish that for about, boom, vapor barrier, uh, curing compound. And I'm just going to add a base rate for my forming here. So then we have tax on materials. So I'm paying in Georgia 7% generally. General conditions. So this is in Florida. So I'm going to add pretty high percentage of general conditions here. And then my overhead, I know I'm running about 9% overhead, insurance, admin, all of that kind of stuff. And then profit margin, I'm going to go after 35% profit margin. Now that looks a little high to me. So I would probably go adjust these numbers just based on experience. But yeah, that's pretty much the process itself. Dialing the numbers in is, your expertise. But yeah, after you have this, you can go ahead and print this as a PDF. Well, obviously, there would, once I finish the the job, the estimate, there will be a lot more line items on here. But it does have the bid, the person or company you're performing it for. You have your terms and conditions, and then generally they're going to write you a contract, but it can be accepted depending on the client you're doing it for. Just to go through and show you how you can edit that terms and conditions, you can edit it here, and you can also edit your scope of work here. You can also do this cool AI generation for your scope of work, which is really just it reads your takeoffs here and then generates a scope of work, concrete slab, reinforcement, which I'll show you what that looks like. It is pretty cool. Obviously, you're going to want to go back and double check, but it does generally grab everything and nothing additional. So yeah, that is how I estimate a concrete job. I think that is the best and most efficient and accurate way to estimate. We win a lot of work this way. I personally use this in my company, my concrete company, and masonry as well. We do a lot of trades, as you can see in this library. We service most trades. I'm typically operating in this asphalt, concrete, curb and gutter, sometimes earthwork, masonry, painting, plumbing. We do a lot of stuff, but personally, but we have designed this to service pretty much any subcontractor, and we think it is the best and most effective software on the market, as well as being the most affordable on the market at $100 a month. So, if you're interested in using ScopeTakeoff to grow your business, there's a link in the description. You get a 14-day free trial when you come from the video. I hope to see you inside using our software.